Hey guys, it's Irene. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't watched my last video, go check that out to learn a little bit about me. Today we are going to be talking about three main things. One, the many different clarinets that make up the clarinet family. Two, the different parts of the clarinet. And three, assembling them all together to make it like this. There are six most commonly used clarinets: the B-flat clarinet, A clarinet, E-flat clarinet, alto clarinet, bass clarinet, and contrabass clarinet. Of the six, the B-flat clarinet is most commonly used, and it's probably most likely the one that you have right now in your hands. It's what most people, if not everyone, starts off as beginners because it's just the standard B-flat clarinet. Each type of clarinet is so beautiful in their own way because they all have their own timbre, their own sound, a level of warmth, darkness, roundness. It really depends on the context and what the composer intended to have sound in their written music. And so each of these six instruments are so special, and I've experienced playing obviously the B-flat clarinet. I have an A clarinet. I've played E-flat clarinet and bass clarinet, but it would be so amazing to one day be able to play the alto and contrabass clarinet. Now we'll move on to talk about the different parts of the clarinet from top to bottom, starting with the mouthpiece. I use a Black Diamond BD5 mouthpiece that I've been using for a very long time, as you can see, but it has served me very well. Next, we have the reed, which is a sliver of wood, and this is what vibrates to be able to make the sound of the clarinet, a very unique sound to the clarinet. Then we have the ligature, which is what keeps the reed attached to the mouthpiece and to stabilize it. Next, we have the upper joint, and when it's all assembled together, this is where your left hand is placed. Then we have the lower joint. This is held by your right hand. And as you see in the back here, there is a thumb rest where your right thumb will be placed underneath. This is what holds up basically the whole instrument, but we'll talk more on that later. And last but not least, we have the bell, which is assembled at the very bottom of the clarinet. Now let's assemble. I always assemble from the bell up to the mouthpiece. Some people have different preferences, but that's what I like to do. So first I grab the bell and the lower joint, and then I shimmy on the lower joint onto the bell. I never just force it on because that's bad for the cork, and it's not going to go on very well if you try that. So bring that on. To align it, I like to align it by the logo, but it's up to you. Then get the upper joint and start to twist that onto the lower joint. There are two parts, one attached to the lower joint, one attached to the upper joint. You'll see here, right underneath the four side keys on the right of the clarinet, there are these two parts that you'll see, and they line up. There are two lines on the upper joint that should match perfectly, really, with the lower joint. So make sure you line that up, and then just like that, the upper joint, lower joint, and bell are all lined up. And then the barrel, very simple, you just put it right on. I like to line it up with the logo again, just like the bell. And then for the mouthpiece, I just put it right on at the top. Make sure that the opening, you'll see this opening is pointing towards you, and so the keys are pointing away from you and the opening is towards you, because that's where you'll put your mouth, where you'll put the reed, and then you'll make the sound. Then once you have the mouthpiece on there, you get your ligature. I always get my ligature first. Put that in place. Don't tighten it yet because you need to tighten it with the reed. You get the reed, make sure it's wet. You don't want to ever play on a dry reed because that won't give you the best sound that you can make. So get your wet reed and then place it on. Now when you put the reed on the mouthpiece, make sure that you're very careful with the reed, first of all. Don't ever hold it by the tip because that's the most delicate part and that's the part that vibrates and allows you to make the sound. So you put that on the mouthpiece, and when you put it on, make sure that it's very centered. You don't want it to be over to the right or over to the left, because it's not gonna make the right sound. Okay, and then you want this black sliver up at the top, not too much because that leaves too much space, no vibration will happen. Too high and it'll make it way too hard, no vibration will happen. So allow this black sliver to be seen, and then once you think it's in a good spot, you tighten it. Tighten the ligature, and you're all set. You did it! Good job! Next time we're gonna learn some notes, so be excited, because I am. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.